So what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, I mean, you think it's real? It feels real, doesn't it?
Where'd you get this?
I ordered it online.
You think there's any more of them out there?
I don't know. We can find out.
No.
You're supposed to be my friend.
You're making that kind of difficult right now.
It was just in my box. I didn't order anything or ask for anything. It was just there.
What am I supposed to tell my wife? Tell her. Don't call me anymore. Don't talk to me at work. Don't come by my house.
You want to watch it again?
Hi guys, welcome back to the Cinema Couch.
Today we are reviewing my film Gut, and we are joined by the fabulous Jason Vail.
Jason,
Via
thanks for
Skype.
joining. Yeah, via Skype. Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Jamal. Thanks for having me.
Now this movie, wow, I mean, you two are in this movie, so obviously you're very biased about how good it is.
Naturally.
Being somebody looking on the outside in, I love this movie. This movie's really good. You guys did such a great job. Like, I'm in between some good talent right now. Yeah, it was dark. It was creepy. Elias, he did such a good job of making it like that right tone, and it was such a creepy movie. And the way you and your friend go at it, it's like, yeah, y'all are so close at the beginning, and by the end, you guys just like at each other's throats. It's a really, yeah, literally at each other's throats. Yes, it is a. How did you prepare to get into this character? Like, what was your preparation?
I mean, I got the script pretty far in advance, and by independent film standards, that means like several weeks. Usually get it like the day before, or maybe if you're lucky, 3 days before. So basically, Elias really talked to me about the character. He's very thorough in the audition process. I had an audition, then I had a callback, and then I think I had a second or third callback with other people in the casting process, and that's where I met Sarah. And it's also where I met Dan, the guy who played Dan, Nick. And basically, Elias is really cool because he sort of brought me into the casting process and sort of allowed me to sort of voice my opinion about who I was kind of digging in the auditions and just the vibe that I got between the other actors. So that was really cool. And then as we got into the character process after the casting, it was sort of basically me and the other actors around the table talking about our characters. Elias even let us rewrite some of the dialogue to some degree, not too much, but a little bit. And and yeah, we just sort of flushed things out as we went along. And for me, it was a challenge because it was probably the biggest role I've ever played in my career. And I did a few things up to that point, but I was in, I don't know, 80 to 90% of the film, so that was a challenge, not only physically, because I think I got sick day 2. I mean, Sarah remembers. I got some 24-hour flu virus thing. And,
Oh wow.
yeah, it wasn't fun. Basically, it was yakking my brains out for like 16 hours straight on the second day that I should have been shooting. And I felt horrible because I thought Elias thought I was flaking out or something.
He talked about how you actually started throwing up while on the phone with him.
Yes, he told us all about that. Yeah.
I called him up just to make sure. I'm going to call him and make sure he knows I'm sick. And I didn't expect myself to start actually doing it on the phone, but it kind of happened. And So yeah, he believed me at that point. Whether he did it or not, I think he always believed me. But so yeah, so then yeah, we just rehearsed several times the tougher scenes,
right?
And then there were some scenes that we didn't rehearse at all. We just sort of got onto the set, and I mean, a lot of those were those stagnant shots where it's just one take, which were, for me as an actor, it's scary as hell, where it's just one long take and you know there's no cutting. Like, what you see is what you get. So those are kind of intimidating because as an actor, you always go, I want to do one more. And Elias is like, we can't, gotta move on, you know. So yeah, I mean, my goal was just to sort of try to make him believable and try to bring out that transition from guy sort of not digging his job, not digging his sex life or where he is in life in general. Like, he was just sort of not feeling fulfilled, and so he started looking for things to sort of add to that fulfillment, and that sort of led him down this dark path, and it just kept getting darker, worse and worse.
Wow.
Okay, my question to you, Jason, is that final scene, which I can't really divulge because I don't want to spoil anything,
right,
but it's like a pretty epic scene for you at the final point. But like, if you look at the behind the scenes, like, you just have that glowing square, right, that you had to look into for the television. Like, first of all, how many takes was that to do that, and how difficult was it to pull yourself to that point?
Good question. I don't remember. I sort of think we just let the camera roll. I think it was just one long take, maybe two. It wasn't very many, because what Elias is going for was just sort of the emotional outlet, or outburst, I should say. Right. So he basically pulled me aside and was like, you know, I kind of see, I need to see you break down. I need to see some tears come from the eyes, kind of thing. And he goes, I don't like to ask that from actors. I sort of want it to happen naturally, and I don't want to force you into this kind of position. But he felt like it was pivotal to the character and to the plot, and to empathize with this character. Because up to this point, there's not a whole lot to empathize about this guy. Just 'cause, I mean, you know, he's a good dad and a fairly good husband, but he's sort of cold. He's been cold through the whole film. Mm-hmm. So this is his one chance to sort of redeem himself, I guess, with the audience, that he's not just this stoic, harsh guy, that he has feelings, he has emotions. So for me, it was kind of, and I've cried in films, I've had breakdown moments in films, so yeah, so I just sort of you let the cameras roll, and I just sort of put my mind in a dark place, or in a place where, you know, you think of something in your life that relates to the situation as much as you can, and you just see what comes out. And there was a lot that happened during that take. I mean, I remember actually calling out your character's name and saying a lot of things, but he chose to cut the verbal stuff out and just make it sort of a quiet visual scene, which I thought was very effective and sort of sold the point. You know, of course, as an actor, I would have liked the verbal stuff. It was mostly improv. It pretty much was improv. I mean, there was no dialogue written for that moment, so that's pretty much it.
Okay, so I just did a film where I had to do my first nude scene.
I didn't make him ask this.
Yeah, she didn't make me ask this at all. And I just I said, okay, let's just do this. Let's jump. Just didn't think about it, jumped into it. Now there's a lot of nudity in this film. Not a lot. There's some nudity in this film. There's some nudity in this film, guys. How did you prepare yourself? Did you just say, did you like take a day, say, okay, we're doing nude scenes tomorrow, I gotta, you know, like check out my butt, make sure it's tight. What did you, like, what was your preparation? Because I would be going crazy. I would. I'd be like, oh man, how's my butt look in the mirror? Like, you know, like, how does it look? And tell me about that. Tell me.
That definitely makes you start to look in the mirror a lot more from week to week. I guess, I mean, part of it was, again, I got lucky. I mean, even when the puking session I had on day 2 was horrible, but prior to the puking, I didn't have abs. After I had puked for 16 hours straight, I had a six-pack, which was great, or sort of a six-pack. So it actually aided in the nudity part, because I didn't have to worry about doing extra crunches or extra push-ups in between. So basically, I remember very clearly the first day of the first nude scene, and basically, we did a take. It was kind of funny. We did a take, and the camera was like a foot away from me, not even. And I was standing by the bed, and I basically just dropped my drawers and just hopped into bed. And then he cut, and he goes, "Yeah, you weren't supposed to get naked at that moment." So the whole crew was just like, "Uh-oh, we see penis."
Wasn't there a resounding "oh"?
Yeah, everyone was just sort of like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" So I guess I was kind of an eager beaver trying to, I misunderstood what he wanted. So then when we got to the actual scene, that sort of got it out of the way, sort of. And then when we got to the actual scene where I had to do kind of the full frontal, sit on the bed kind of thing, the lights are turned way down, so that was kind of good. There's not much to see. So I was sitting on the bed, and I had to turn towards the camera. And I remember we did the first take, and basically Elias goes, "Cut." He goes, "Hey man, it looks like you're trying to sort of cover up a little bit, like you're not trying to, like you're aware that you're naked."
You're aware that you're naked, right?
I said, "Yeah, I'm very aware that I'm naked." He said, and he laughed. And he said, "Oh, okay, I get it." He goes, "Well, let's do it again and just try not to think about it." And honestly, it was right after that moment, you just sort of let go. You're like, all right, it's already out there, so let's just keep going. And from that point on, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, yeah, there's moments where you sit there and you start to look around and you see 10 guys behind a camera trying not to look at you, doing this whole thing, like looking down the ground, counting the ceiling tiles, or whatever. So I think it's even more uncomfortable for everyone but the actor, because because no one's really trying to look at you. Everyone's just trying to look away. And so as an actor, you start to feel bad because you're like, "Oh, wow, I'm making everyone really uncomfortable." Because I was fine with it at a certain point. I'm like, yeah, no big deal.
Right. Yeah, I was the same way. I was sitting in the bed once when I had one of the topless scenes, because I spent pretty much the entire film in bed. And Trent was sitting next to me just holding the camera, and at one point he went and he barely brushed my shoulder or something. I don't even remember what it was. Something totally innocent. And then he's like, "Oh my god, oh my god." And then he takes his beanie cap and he pulls it down and he just sits there.
Oh wow. So he was you were like,
I didn't care. I didn't care. Yeah, but it was Okay. Yeah, so I can relate.
It's getting over that first take. Once you get past that first take, it's all uphill. Or downhill.
Right.
Yeah, well, you guys did a great job. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted you to talk a little bit, because we've never actually talked about Whom God Helps. I want to know a little bit about that, because I've seen the trailer, and it just looks so fascinating.
I've seen the trailer too.
I just showed Jamal.
It looks really good.
Talk to us a little bit about that, and I also want to know about this new film that you've been cast in, called, what is it, Jason?
Him.
That's right. So do tell.
Cool, yeah. I'll throw those two out, and I got one more, or maybe two more I can throw out as well that are in the process of coming out. Whom God Helps was a short. It was I can't remember how long it was, but it was in the range of 12 to 16 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And it was shot in Philadelphia by the Federal Film Reserve. Great group of guys. Louis Mansfield was the director, and he's all about crazy, artsy, edgy films. And I actually, I'm embarrassed to admit this, I actually turned down his first offer to me because I was so nervous and worried about the content of the film, of how I'd be perceived. For the role that he wanted to cast me in. And I felt bad. I said, "Hey man, this maybe next time, because this just doesn't seem like a good fit." But I said, if you get another project down the road, definitely call me. Well, another one came up, and he called me about it as well. And I can't remember what happened exactly. If I bailed out again because of another shoot or something, or if he didn't do it, I can't remember. So that didn't work. So then round 3 rolled around, and he called me up and said, "Hey, look, I got a part for you. I think this is the one that you're gonna like." And I said, "All right, pitch it to me, And he said, I want you to play this sort of demon-like character. So you'll be wearing all head-to-toe prosthetic makeup, and you'll be speaking Latin the whole time. And I was like, this sounds really awesome. I'm like, I'm definitely interested. And he sent me the script, and I read the script, and I said, oh, this is awesome. Let's do this. And then it started a series of trips down to Philly and getting fitted with the prosthetics and doing a bunch of makeup tests. And then it was, bam, on the set, shooting, and we did, pretty long days. It took, the makeup alone took anywhere from 4 or 5 hours or more.
Wow. Just
to put on. Because we never applied it completely, because they're trying to save, independent film, trying to save some money. So we just put the basics parts on it during the tests, and then for the actual shoot, we had to actually apply the entire thing for the first time, which I'm sure for the makeup people was intimidating. But they did an awesome job, and we did 3 days in a row. And the most interesting thing was I couldn't actually pee while I was in the makeup.
Oh, wow.
And so we're doing 4 to 5 hours of makeup on top of an 8 to 12 hour shoot. So basically I fasted a couple days before up to the point of the shoot, where I drank minimum water and I ate minimum food just to sort of see how my body would adjust to it. And then when I got into the actual shoot, right before they put on the final parts of the prosthetics, I basically had a little bit of water and a little tiny bit of food, and I just cut myself off for the next 14 hours until the end of the shoot. And I never had a problem. It didn't bother me one bit.
Wow.
Kind of nuts, right?
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
Cool.
The things we do for independent film.
Yeah.
Yes.
That movie went on to win a bunch of awards, and I think it won Best Short and a couple other awards for several horror film festivals and indie film festivals around the country. Got into about a dozen or over a dozen festivals worldwide. So check it out. You can go to the federalfilmreserve.com film site, and I think it's partially on there or completely on there. I'm not sure.
Okay, we definitely do that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been wanting to see that. Yeah.
Okay, the other film is called Pimp, and it's a homegrown film in Atlanta, Georgia. Basically, the guy, it's an autobiographical film about this guy named Robert Kelly, who was actually a criminal defense lawyer or attorney in Atlanta in the 1970s. And he sort of got this reputation of defending a lot of the prostitutes, the hookers in that area. And he he got the nickname the working girls attorney. And the people that didn't like him called him the whore lawyer, was his other nickname. And he befriended all these prostitutes, because back in those days it was a little bit different. He described most of the prostitutes, or all the prostitutes that were on the streets back in those days, were college educated or trying to get a degree in the university at the time. They didn't do drugs because that wasn't allowed. So it was almost like a legitimate business in a sense, other than the fact that it was prostitution. But these are very smart women, very career-oriented women, and a lot of them actually went on, or some of them actually went on to invest in major corporations and make millions of dollars later on in life after they got out being a madam or a prostitute. So he sort of got caught up in this world, being a defense lawyer or attorney and helping out these women, and even eventually started becoming a pimp for them. He took several of these women. He got so close to them and so attached to their life and the way they did things that he ended up pimping out a stable of prostitutes back in the, I guess 70s and 80s. Sounds insane, and he actually has some videos on YouTube talking about this in the movie. And I'm playing his sort of life enemy, this guy named Tony Quayle, who's a real life cop. All these people are real people, from the pimps to the prostitutes to the police and the attorneys. Names are changed, of course. And so I'm like this dirty cop. I'm this really scumbag, dirty cop that goes around and basically harasses the prostitutes, takes their money, and then sleeps with them. And eventually his character tracks me down and sort of catches me red-handed and doing all this bad stuff and puts me on trial. And anyways, I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, so I get to play a bad guy, as usual.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
But it's a great film. It has a great budget. It's like $13 million. So for me, that's like going from, you know, all right, a budget, which is awesome. So it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. We start shooting in June. And yeah, let's pimp.
Yes.
And another film that I just got some news today is coming out on DVD pretty soon. I can't give you an exact date, but it's called Dead Collections. It's a little horror film I shot up in New Jersey a few years back, and I play a supporting role in that. Susie Lorraine, who's also a big scream queen, she's one of the stars in it. So look for that. I don't know. I think it's going to be on Netflix and a few other things. So that's it.
Very, very. It looks like you have a huge career ahead of you. Wow, like being introduced to you, like to this, like in this movie, was a great start. And like I'm a fan now because I was like, wow, this guy, he really stole the show. I was, yeah, you really made the movie really. Like I think if somebody else had played the lead, I don't think it would have been as interesting. I don't know. Like I can imagine myself playing the lead. I don't think I could have did the job you did. I don't think. So I congrat you on that. Definitely.
Well, I had a good lead actress to so
there you go. You need a good team. Okay, so Jason, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You're welcome back on the couch anytime you want to promote something new.
Next time you're here, with the new film we have coming out.
We want you.
As soon as we have a trailer. Yeah.
Yes,
cool. Thank you, Jamal. Thank you, Sarah. You guys are awesome, and it was a pleasure being on your show, and I look forward to many more. So thank you so much.
And thank you guys for joining us. Bye.